This was Melania's first interview in more than 2 years. We now see Melania on the same schedule as Punxsutawney Phil. In other words, he never changed a single diaper or went to one school play, I think is what she's trying to say. This wasn't so much an interview as it was a proof of life video, but...
Melania has been pretty much out of the public eye lately. It seems like she's on the same schedule as other celebrities who rarely make public appearances. Some say she never took part in family responsibilities or attended school events. Her recent appearance wasn't really an interview, it was more like proof she's still around. But it makes you wonder where Melania actually spends her time these days. Late-night host Kimmel jokes that she's playing an extreme version of hide-and-seek. Maybe she's staying away from holiday decorating duties or practicing disappearing tricks for a performance.
Since to shill, Melania came out of hiding to promote her new book, still can't spell the word Baron, by the way. The only thing I want to know from Melania is, who are you voting for? That's the question I would like answered. True story of an immigrant who came to America to mate with a pig, and...
Another TV host suggests that her absence might be part of a campaign strategy. Like her husband is showing voters he can make their wives vanish too. Seems like a strange take on family values. Hey, before we continue, if you like what you're watching, please hit the like button and subscribe. Most viewers watch without subscribing, and while it doesn't cost anything, it really helps support the channel. Did you subscribe? Awesome. Thanks so much. Let's get back to talking about Melania. She's gotten really good at not being seen. Kind of like how most people's exercise motivation disappears. She's missed important events including birthday celebrations, legal proceedings, and even events for her own initiatives.
This was Melania's first interview in more than 2 years. We now see Melania on the same schedule as Punxsutawney Phil. In other words, he never changed a single diaper or went to one school play, I think is what she's trying to say. This wasn't so much an interview as it was a proof of life video, but...
Since she emerged to promote her new book, people have questions. The main one being, who will she vote for? Her story resembles someone who immigrated to America and made some questionable relationship choices. Everyone's been wondering so much about her whereabouts that they might need treatment for all the head scratching. Is she hiding somewhere in the White House? Did she escape through some secret passage? Or maybe she's just really committed to keeping her distance from everyone. One talk show host has some funny ideas about this, when suggesting Melania has mastered the art of being invisible after spending years standing next to her husband at campaign events.
It's a big get for Fox News. You know, rarely does Fox News allow a brunette to appear on television.
That's why it's just perfect.
Yeah, it sounds really perfect.
Say they don't like him. What do you wish they knew about him?
That he's really a family man.
Let's face it, you can't really blame her for staying out of sight. Melania finally showed up for a chat after being absent for over 2 years. People have noticed she follows the same pattern as certain famous figures who are hardly ever around. It seems like she wasn't involved in any parenting duties or kid activities. At least that's what people are suggesting. Her appearance wasn't really a deep conversation. It just showed she's still around. Being next to someone with such a distinctive appearance must feel like being completely overshadowed.
He loves his family. He loves this country. And all he wants to build better. And I know how busy he is, and I'm in charge of everything, and prosperous.
All he wants to build better and prosperous, is that?
A late-night comedian made fun of her absence, suggesting it could be part of her husband's election strategy, promising voters their wives could vanish too. Now that's actually something some folks might like. Another TV host had his own take, wondering if she's traveling the world to avoid her husband's latest troubles. Maybe she's working on clothing with messages showing her lack of interest, or she's just found a really comfortable hiding spot. It's interesting that a certain news channel rarely features women with her hair color on their shows. It seems perfectly planned. When asked what people should know about her husband, she simply calls him family-oriented.
So I think American people need to decide what they really want. And I said, I'm completely fine with one because it's very busy life, strong tweets, but everything else great for this country.
As the guesses get more outlandish, so does the curiosity. Is she secretly practicing for a TV singing competition? Has she found a way to escape to another reality? The possibilities seem endless. There's more to the story, though. When asked about her whereabouts, her husband gives awkward responses that just make comedians joke even more. It's like watching someone poorly explain a failed trick. He claims to love his family and country, wanting to improve things. She mentions being in charge of everything while he focuses on making things better and successful. But this mystery goes deeper. From family members who aren't around to followers who've disappeared, it seems keeping people close is becoming difficult. Remember when his social media posts could cause major international tension? Now he struggles to get attention on a blog that's about as popular as going to get a tooth filled. What happened to someone who could once break the internet with a simple typo? His new online space called From the Desk of Donald J. Trump isn't exactly exciting anyone. People might call it thoughts from someone stuck in a room who can't post online anymore. Looks like Americans need to decide what's really important to them. Some folks are totally fine with one option since life gets pretty hectic. His page is basically just a spot where he shares what's on his mind, kind of like a social platform with just one user. Unlike when he used that popular social site, hardly anyone's paying attention now.
So it's all in the Americans, people's hands.
Oh, this is going to be one hell of an audiobook, let me tell you. First cartoon character to be honored on the Walk of Fame. Others include Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse, and Donald Trump all have... And while most of the questions were about the unfair FBI raid on her home and her time in the White House, Melania did give some personal insight.
Back when he had access to that big platform, he could reach tons of people with just one poorly spelled message. These days, he's lucky if his posts get shared as much as random pet photos. It's similar to watching someone who used to fill stadiums now playing to empty seats. TV hosts have been poking fun at his new online attempt. One joked it's like passing notes in class that nobody wants to read. Another said his blog is so dull even his hair seems to be trying to get away. He's one of the first cartoon-like figures to get recognition on a famous walkway, joining famous characters and other animated personalities. While most questions were about government searches of her property and her time in Washington, his wife did share some personal thoughts. He's been trying everything to get people to notice him again, posting more content, speaking louder, and probably thinking about hiring planes with banners. It's like watching your elderly relative trying to become famous on a video app. Trust me, it's not going anywhere. As comedians continue making jokes about his struggling website, you can almost hear him trying to figure out what to do next.
How did Trump mess up the world's easiest question? It's like they threw him a softball and he swung and hit himself in the dick. Leave it to Fox News not to recognize what rejection from a woman looks like. She slapped his hand away, which probably means she wants a promotion first, right?
How did he mess up such an easy question? It's like someone tossed him the simplest challenge ever and he completely missed it. Certain news channels don't seem to understand when a woman is showing clear rejection. When she moves away from his hand, they think it means something completely different. How will someone who called himself extremely intelligent respond to being labeled a social media failure? His responses have been about as steady as a tower of blocks ready to fall. He's been complaining about fake stories and critics, calling one host talentless and another unwatchable. It's like he's using outdated insults from years ago. But his social media problems are just the beginning of his troubles. Now he wants to hold hands? Wouldn't he rather be holding that glowing ball? When you see that, do you wonder if his wife might be jealous? Maybe that explains what's happening. So here we are, Mies. His biggest enemies aren't even these TV hosts. His real problem isn't even the media that he complains about. It's actually that he can't laugh when people joke about him. He gets upset super easily and handles jokes about as well as a cat deals with water.
Oh, now you want to hold hands, Donald? You sure you wouldn't rather be holding that orb? When you watch that, do you think maybe Melania is jealous? Maybe that's what this was about?
While his wife continues to stay out of the spotlight and he keeps posting thoughts that hardly anyone reads, one thing becomes really clear. Maybe humor is our best way to handle crazy politics. We don't always need people checking facts when we have comedians at night pointing out how ridiculous some situations are. When you think about it, maybe having a good laugh really is the best way to feel better, especially when the alternative is getting stressed out about the mess of today's politics. So those TV hosts should keep the jokes flowing. We probably need them more now than we ever have before.
Would you have married Donald Trump if you had a crystal ball that said he would be president?
That's a interesting question.
I gotta wipe away a tear on that one. That is a heartwarming moment that definitely wasn't created by ChatGPT.
You know the former First Lady who most folks probably only know as that one person from Slovenia? Well, she's been making the rounds this week, popping up on Fox News and all over social media. Now, you might think she's just being a supportive wife, backing her husband's America First message, but there's another reason too. She's got a new book to promote. Speaking of which, this book situation got pretty interesting when Jordan Klepper decided to review it, and boy did that stir up some drama. Turns out Trump wasn't too happy about Klepper's take on his wife's memoir. He did what he does best, went on a social media rant calling Klepper all sorts of names. Pretty ironic when you think about it.
Melania Trump, former First Lady, and the only Slovenian you can name off the top of your head. Well, we don't see a lot of Melania, but she's also been on a media tour this week. Fox News, social media. She's out there because she's a supportive wife who believes in her husband's America First. I'm f***ing with you. She has a book to sell. We actually have a copy here. Yeah, this is it. This is her book. I want to read you a quick passage just to give you a feel for it. This is real.
Getting upset over someone else's jokes. The whole review was actually pretty funny. There's this part where Klepper reads about a supposed private moment between Donald and Melania. It goes something like, before Donald headed to his office that Wednesday, we had a private moment. I told him, congratulations, what an achievement. Klepper's response? He joked about whether this was written by AI, which got quite a few laughs. But wait, it gets better. When he got to the part about cyberbullying, I mean, come on, that's like a comedy gift wrapped in gold paper, right?
As Donald prepared to go down to his office on Wednesday morning, he and I had a private moment. Congratulations, I said. What an achievement. All those other people. And you won.
Here's the wife of the guy who made Twitter his personal playground writing about online behavior. Klepper really had fun with that one. And don't even get me started on the White House decorating sections. The way Klepper described it, you'd think the guide was just slap gold on everything and hang up lots of pictures of yourself. He kept going through the book, finding gems like her Be Best campaign and that infamous jacket incident. So get this, Klepper keeps the jokes rolling, and each one's better than the last.
He doesn't sleep much. He does, of course.
Does he wear
needs to.
pajamas?
No.
No. What does he wear when he sleeps, Melania?
Well, one of the things she...
Oh. But maybe hearing about Donald Trump's bedtime routine from Melania doesn't get your engines revving. Fortunately, the campaign also brought out someone for the ladies.
Former senior advisor to President Trump, Stephen Miller.
Melania says, you are naked in bed. And he says, and you are the First Lady. Good luck.
He gets to this part about the infamous I really don't care jacket, and you can tell he's just warming up. The real zinger comes when he talks about what brings the Trumps together. You know, their shared talent for turning politics into a family business. He delivers it with this perfect mix of fake wow and pure sass. Then things get interesting. The book apparently shares some pretty personal details about Donald's sleeping habits. Spoiler, he's not big on PJs. But if that's not your cup of tea, don't worry. They brought out Stephen Miller, one of Trump's old advisors, for some extra entertainment. Though honestly, his attempt at flirting was about as smooth as sandpaper.
Whose interests are furthered by a polarized America. Contempt fuels political campaigns and social media, and many profit from that. But it's a worrisome, it's a dangerous way to lead a country. I'm a person of faith, surrounded by people of faith. And with God's help, I believe that unity in this country is possible. Not perfectly, for we are imperfect people and an imperfect union.
The whole thing went viral faster than a cat video. People were loving it, sharing clips everywhere, and Klepper's jokes spread like wildfire. But here's what makes it special. Klepper isn't just going for cheap laughs. He's using humor to point out how crazy our political world has gotten. Sometimes you need a good laugh to make sense of all the chaos, right? But oh boy, the best part? Trump found out about the whole thing. Picture this. There he is at Mar-a-Lago, probably scrolling through his phone like a teenager checking their Instagram likes, when he stumbles across Klepper's take on Melania's book. You can just imagine his reaction. That moment when he realizes he's the punchline. His face probably turned redder than a stop sign, and you know he went straight for that caps lock button like it was mission critical. So this whole thing turned into an epic social media showdown. Trump starts firing off posts like there's no tomorrow, calling Klepper a failed comedian who can't get real laughs. But that was just the warm-up act.
I shouldn't say this. I'm going to get hell when I say this, but her feet are absolutely aching. You know, those heels. And we thought we were leaving. We were going home. Sir, would you be able to go down and say hello to some of your other fans that are here? I said, oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Did you get to see pretty clearly the picture, I hope? Good. That's good. But because you wouldn't want to make the same speech again, right? But she said, darling, I love you so much, but my feet are killing me. I said, honey, let me just see how far it is. I asked the person. Oh, not that long, maybe 400 or 500 yards. That's 5 football fields. I said, can you make it? She said, we're going to make it no matter what. We're going to make it because we have to get, right?
He then drops this totally random comment about someone being naked in bed and the First Lady, which left everyone scratching their heads like, what are we even talking about here? The internet, being the internet, had a field day with this. People were sharing and commenting so fast, you'd think they were giving away free Wi-Fi. It was like watching your loudest relative go off at a family dinner, except this relative used to have the nuclear codes. Talk about awkward. But here's what's really funny. Trump's meltdown actually made Klepper's jokes even better. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know what got under Trump's skin so badly.
Hello, Madison Square Garden. Our hometown, where architectural symbols of strength, courage, and unity create a canvas for the world's undisputed capital of industry. Let us charge together with a shared vision that builds on American greatness.
News folks started analyzing Trump's posts like they were ancient manuscripts, especially that weird bedroom comment that came out of nowhere. Meanwhile, Klepper's probably just chilling somewhere, watching his jokes spread like wildfire thanks to Trump's quick trigger finger. It's kind of like that saying about not feeding the trolls, except Trump basically catered a whole buffet.
Let's seize this moment and create a country for tomorrow, the future that we deserve. Please welcome our next Commander-in-Chief, my husband, President Donald J. Trump.
The whole thing turned into this massive online party where everyone brought their best jokes instead of snacks. And let me tell you, some of these memes were absolute chef's kiss material. So the late night TV crew couldn't help jumping into this comedy goldmine. Jimmy Kimmel spent a whole chunk of his show reading Trump's social media posts in different voices. Imagine Trump's words coming out like Mickey Mouse or smooth like Barry White. The audience was losing it. Then Stephen Colbert takes it to another level, doing this super dramatic reading of Melania's book like he's performing at the Globe Theater. Who knew family drama could sound so fancy? But here's where it gets interesting. While everyone's cracking up, some analysts started thinking deeper about all this. Picture a bunch of political experts sitting around with their coffee when suddenly one of them has this aha moment. What if jokes are actually more effective than serious debates when it comes to challenging Trump? It kind of makes sense, right? Trump usually slides through regular debates with his usual catchphrases, but jokes? Those really seem to get to him. Every time a comedian takes a shot at him, he goes into full meltdown mode, firing off angry posts faster than a teenager texting their crush. So while everyone's sharing funny videos and laughing at Colbert's dramatic eye rolls, something bigger might be happening. These comedians aren't just trying to get laughs, they're using humor to make some pretty serious points about power and politics.
I said to Melania, what do you think? And she said, you want to do this again? I'm going to get hell when I say this, but her feet are absolutely aching. You know, those heels. And we thought we were leaving. We were going home. She said, darling, I love you so much, but my feet are killing me. I said, honey, let me just see how far it is. I asked the person. Oh, not that long, maybe 400 or 500 yards. That's 5 football fields. I said, can you make it? She said, we're going to make it no matter what. We're going to make it because we have to go. Right? Right? And then we went out to the helicopter, though, just prior to this, and said goodbye. And it's a custom, and the wind is blowing like crazy. And with the hat that she's wearing, she almost blew away. We almost lost off her. She was being elevated off the ground. She almost blew away. No, so we all appreciate it because you